Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're heading to America's heartland.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, to check out how the Amish approach water.
Okay.
It's a story of resourcefulness
Mm,
and community that might just make you rethink modern living a bit.
I'm intrigued. You know what I always find fascinating about the Amish? They're not like those folks driven by some romanticized off-the-grid ideal. They're practical people facing very real constraints, and their water solutions are born out of necessity as much as anything.
Right, it's all about practicality.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into that. Our sources describe a system where wells are like the cornerstone,
Mm.
but not the kind you just, drill with a rig in an afternoon.
No, no, definitely not.
We're talking serious wells here.
Right, hundreds of feet deep, dug by hand.
Right.
Or sometimes with help from draft animals. It's a massive undertaking, weeks of labor, a real testament to their commitment.
I can't even imagine. It really makes you realize how differently they view water. I mean, each drop must feel precious when you've literally moved tons of earth to reach it.
Absolutely, and that respect translates into some really ingenious maintenance, too. There's this one account I read about a man who used old bicycle parts to fix his well pump. Talk about making do.
Wow. That's amazing. If you enjoy learning about these unique solutions and approaches, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive. We release new episodes every week. Okay, now speaking of ingenuity, their approach to rainwater harvesting is equally impressive.
Oh, for sure. They view rain as a gift, not a nuisance. Simple system, barrels and gutters. You can capture hundreds of gallons from just an inch of rainfall off a typical roof.
Wow, so that's enough for drinking water, gardening, maybe even livestock needs.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I bet those rain barrels become quite the social hub during a downpour, huh?
I can only imagine. It's a community affair, families helping each other out, preparing for that next big rain. It makes you wonder, why are WE so quick to reach for bottled water when nature provides such abundance?
It's a great point. Their system is cost-effective and sustainable.
Hmm.
But what really stood out to me was their approach to purification. I mean, they don't have city water treatment plants, right?
Right.
So how do they ensure their water is safe?
And yet, they achieve remarkably clean drinking water. Take sand filters, for example, nature's coffee filter, layers of sand and gravel, trapping impurities.
That's pretty clever. But, I mean, is that really enough to make the water truly safe to drink?
Well, the Amish take it a step further, often incorporating charcoal into their filters, which absorbs unwanted tastes and odors, leaving the water fresh and palatable.
Ah, so it's not just about safety then, but also about making the water enjoyable to drink.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They also utilize UV light for purification.
Yeah, they've figured out how to harness UV light's bacteria-killing power without needing those expensive, high-tech systems. It's the perfect blend of tradition with practical applications of modern science.
It's a great reminder that we don't always need complicated gadgets to solve problems. Simple, natural solutions can be surprisingly effective. If you like learning about this kind of stuff, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Right, let's move on to natural springs, another key part of their water strategy.
Yes, natural springs provide naturally filtered, mineral-rich water. The Amish have these simple yet very effective ways of collecting it. Some tap directly into the spring. Others create stone basins to gather the flowing water.
Wow, it's like having a constantly replenished supply of fresh mineral water right in your backyard.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. They really are masters of working with nature.
Absolutely. They understand that nature provides. And they show respect for those resources. It's such a contrast to our modern tendency to want to control and engineer everything.
It really does. It makes you think, what if we took a page from their book and looked for simpler, more harmonious ways to meet our own water needs?
That's a thought-provoking question. The Amish example really challenges our assumptions about what's truly necessary for a good life.
Okay, so we've covered wells, rainwater, natural springs, and even some DIY purification techniques. What else can we learn from their approach?
Well, one of the most fascinating aspects to me is their understanding of the bigger picture, particularly when it comes to aquifer recharge.
Aquifer recharge. That sounds pretty technical.
It's actually a simple principle. They've got techniques to redirect runoff water back into the earth, ensuring a steady replenishment of their groundwater supply.
So it's not just about taking what they need. It's about giving back to the water cycle and ensuring sustainability for future generations.
Precisely. They get it. Their actions today have implications for tomorrow, and they act accordingly. It's a lesson for us all.
It is. It really is. They've found a way to meet their water needs without depleting resources or harming the environment. That's a model we could all learn from.
Absolutely, it's a testament to their long-term vision and their deep respect for the natural world. It reminds us that true sustainability requires a holistic approach.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to the next fascinating aspect of Amish water ingenuity, let's pause for a moment. If you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive. For more explorations of the world around us, we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. And we're back, still diving deep into Amish water ingenuity. We've talked a lot about their resourcefulness, but I'm curious, do they ever incorporate modern technology into their systems?
That's a great question, and the answer might surprise you. While they definitely value tradition, the Amish are also quite pragmatic. They've selectively adopted technologies that align with their values and enhance their self-sufficiency.
Got it. So not a complete rejection of technology then, but more of a thoughtful integration.
Exactly.
Do you have any examples?
One great example is their use of solar-powered pumps, harnessing the power of the sun to draw water from their wells, reducing reliance on the electrical grid.
That's so cool. A perfect blend of sustainability and practicality.
Right.
It challenges that common misconception of the Amish being completely anti-technology.
For sure, they're not against technology in itself, but they are mindful of its impact on their way of life
Yeah?
and their connection to nature.
Right.
Another good example is their use of gravity-fed systems.
Ah, yes. Working with nature's forces. I read that some Amish communities build their homes on hillsides or near elevated water sources to take advantage of gravity for water distribution.
That's right. Such a smart use of natural principles. By working with gravity, they eliminate the need for pumps or complex infrastructure.
It's like a low-tech, energy-efficient solution. Minimizing reliance on external systems makes you wonder why we don't see more gravity-fed systems in modern infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a great point. Sometimes those simplest, most time-tested approaches get overlooked in our pursuit of high-tech solutions.
It's true. Speaking of simple yet effective solutions, we talked about how the Amish replenish groundwater through aquifer recharge. But how does that work exactly?
Well, they've developed various techniques to direct runoff water back into the earth, for example, creating shallow ditches, or strategically placing permeable surfaces, allowing rainwater to seep back into the ground.
So they're intentionally giving back to the water cycle, ensuring a healthy and sustainable water supply for the future.
Precisely. It's proactive, reflecting their long-term vision and understanding of interconnectedness. They know that their actions today will impact water availability for generations to come.
It's a valuable lesson for all of us, isn't it? We tend to focus on meeting our immediate needs, often without considering the long-term consequences.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the short term.
The Amish remind us that true sustainability requires a holistic approach, thinking about the whole system and how our actions impact the environment. If you're finding this deep dive into the Amish approach to water as fascinating as we are, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insightful explorations. Okay, so we've covered the technological aspects and the big picture thinking, but I want to get into the human element now, the role of community in their water management.
Oh, absolutely. The Amish view water as a shared resource, and their management practices are deeply rooted in community collaboration and shared responsibility.
I've read about that. Seems like neighbors are constantly helping each other out, whether it's digging a well, setting up rainwater harvesting systems, or maintaining those community ponds.
It's true. It's a beautiful example of collective action, where the well-being of the community takes precedence over individual needs, and they actually bring a sense of fun and lightheartedness to these communal tasks, too.
I've heard about that, playful pranks and such, to encourage participation and strengthen bonds. It's a far cry from our modern tendency towards individualism and relying on paid services for everything.
You can say that again.
The Amish demonstrate that working together can be productive and enjoyable, fostering a sense of belonging, shared purpose, and interdependence.
Absolutely.
Powerful reminder that we are all interconnected. Our well-being depends on the well-being of others.
Couldn't agree more. Their approach to water management, it's a microcosm of their broader philosophy of community and mutual aid.
Such an inspiring example, a community that so effectively balances practicality, sustainability, and a strong sense of interconnectedness.
It really is remarkable.
It's not just about water, is it? It's about rediscovering the power of community, the importance of collaboration, and the satisfaction that comes from working together towards a common goal.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our interdependence, understanding we can achieve so much more when we work together.
Now, before we wrap up our exploration of Amish water ingenuity, we want to remind you that we release new deep dives every week. If you're enjoying this episode, be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest explorations. We'll be back after a short break to delve deeper into the lessons we can learn from the Amish way and how we can apply their principles to our own lives. And we're back for the final stretch of our deep dive into Amish water practices.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And as we wrap up, I'm really struck by how much their approach contrasts with our modern, often technology-dependent ways.
Yeah, it's definitely a refreshing perspective. They managed to thrive without relying on the complex systems and infrastructure that we often take for granted.
Exactly. It really highlights the ingenuity and resourcefulness. That comes from having to meet your own needs, right? Sourcing, purifying, managing water responsibly.
Sure, they embody that idea of self-sufficiency, not in a survivalist way, but as a way of life
Yeah.
that deepens their connection to the land and community.
It makes me think about how disconnected we've become from the resources that sustain us. We just turn on the tap and expect clean water to magically appear, often without a thought about where it comes from or the effort it takes to get it to us.
Right. The Amish approach is a good reminder that water is precious and deserves our respect and stewardship.
Absolutely. Their example encourages us to be more mindful, right, of our water usage, to think about the impact of our actions, maybe even explore ways to become more self-sufficient ourselves.
Yeah, it's not about disconnecting from modern systems completely, but about striking a balance, learning from those traditional practices, becoming more aware of our relationship with the resources we rely on.
And their sustainable practices are so inspiring. Clearly, they have a deep understanding of natural systems and a commitment to working with the environment, not against it.
For sure. From rainwater harvesting and aquifer recharge to their thoughtful use of technology, they show us that it's possible to meet our needs while minimizing our impact.
It's a powerful lesson in sustainable living that we can all try to apply, whether it's reducing our water consumption, choosing eco-friendly products, or supporting initiatives that promote environmental stewardship.
Exactly. It's about making those conscious choices that benefit both ourselves and the planet, recognizing that our well-being is connected to the health of the environment.
And we can't forget that sense of community
Yeah.
that runs through everything they do with water. It's not just individual responsibility, it's collective action and shared purpose.
Their constant collaboration is remarkable, whether it's digging wells, setting up rainwater systems, or taking care of those community ponds. A true testament to the power of working together.
It reminds us that we're not isolated. We're part of a larger community, and our actions have an impact on those around us.
Absolutely. The Amish approach highlights the importance of mutual aid, shared responsibility, and those social connections that make communities thrive.
It's a good reminder. We can achieve so much more when we work together, right? Sharing resources, knowledge, support.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into Amish water ingenuity, I think the takeaways are pretty clear. Self-sufficiency, sustainable practices, and the community collaboration.
Yeah, those are principles we can all embrace. Regardless of background or lifestyle, we can learn from their resourcefulness, their respect for nature, and their dedication to working together.
Their example challenges us to rethink our relationship with water, with the environment, and with each other.
It's an inspiration to find those more sustainable, community-driven solutions.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of Amish water practices. We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Yeah, and remember, there's always more to explore out there. Keep diving deep into the world, seeking out new knowledge and perspectives, and discovering all the amazing ways people are solving problems and living in harmony with nature.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.